Hey, Astro Lover, welcome back to I Talk to Planets. This is your host, Claire Gallagher, author and cosmic business strategist. We are continuing our planet powered business series. This is part 5, so if you haven't caught parts 1 through 4, I highly recommend going back and listening to those or watching those on YouTube. So there are 3 phases in building a planet powered business, and we've spent parts 1 through, 4 or 3, I'm not sure. Can't remember. We've spent the first little bit here working on the first phase, which is to clarify your business. What you do, why you do it, how you do it, and who you do it for. Now we're in phase 2, which is to codify your business. And this is all about creating structures and systems that streamline your business, make it sustainable and profitable. And then phase 3 is where everybody wants to skip first, but if you skip there, you're going to magnify a mess. And that is to amplify your business with marketing. So this phase is all about creating structures and systems so that your business actually goes the distance and turns a profit. Very important. If you skip phase 2, you're probably going to get overwhelmed really quickly and speed towards burnout before you even get to amplify your business. So systems are maybe not the funnest thing in the world. They're not the sexiest thing in the world, but they really create safety and sustainability. Last episode, we started the codify step by decoding your ideal offer using Saturn and the moon, and we talked about how to package it. Today, we're going to talk about pricing your offer. I've noticed with my mentees and my clients that most people just tend to pick a price out of thin air, or they price their services based only on what other people in their industry are doing. I really think both are poor choices. Now, here's the truth. I really think you should use hardcore math to price your services first, your body to gut check it, and astrology to tweak and refine it. But as an astrologer, I'm going to talk about what I do best today, which is the astrological part. Pricing should be based on your revenue goal, what your body can hold energetically, and your realistic client capacity, or how many clients you can actually serve while maintaining steady energy. And I think that client capacity is defined by your moon phase. Now, yes, the moon sign can tell us a little bit about your client capacity, but I really think that it's the brightness or how much light your moon reflects that reflects how much client work you can contain realistically. The ruler of your second house and Venus can also tell you a little bit about your pricing model or what factors you might want to consider when choosing a price. So there's a lot of little pieces here that go into picking a price. We're going to do a little bit of an overview of them today. Let's start with your capacity. I think this is a really vital place to start. Don't start with the revenue goal, although some people, business gurus, would say to start there. I think as an astrologer, it's really important to start with your body, with your mind, and how much work you can realistically do. So I want you to think about, as a service provider, how many clients you can realistically serve per month. So to determine this, you need to know how much time you have to devote to client work each month. And 2, you need to know how long you spend per client on average. So for example, let's pretend you have 20 hours to set aside for client work each month. And let's pretend it takes you 2 hours to deliver your service per client. That means that your monthly client capacity is 10 clients. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Realistically, it takes me personally a lot longer to deliver a service than 2 hours. So let's pretend it takes you 4 hours per client. You can handle 20 divided by 4, you can handle 5 clients per month. If it takes you 10 hours per client, you can handle 2 clients per month, and it takes you the 20 hours, which hopefully it doesn't, but if it takes you the full 20 hours, you can handle 1 client per month. So that's your first assignment. I want you to figure out how much client work time you have in your calendar. And that doesn't mean like, I have 40 hours to spend on clients. You don't. If you're running a business, you might have half that amount. So be realistic about that starting number. How many hours do you have to devote to client work per month? And then how much on average, how much time it takes you to deliver a service per client, and do some basic math to figure out your baseline client capacity number. Now, when I say deliver a service, what I mean, like as an astrologer, for me, that would mean prep time, the actual reading time, and then any post work, so any email follow-up that I have to do with that client or note keeping that I have to do, because I do keep records on my clients so that I remember who they are and what we're working on. So all of that is included in how much time it takes me to deliver a service per client. So I want you to take that base number, and now we're going to tweak it depending on your natal moon phase. Now, if you're starting from scratch, if you're starting a business from the bottom, you may not know any of this information, and that's okay. So you can just lean on your natal moon phase for clues as a starting point and then adjust from there as you gain more knowledge. And if you already have the data, again, we're going to use your natal moon phase to tweak it. So the hypothesis here is the darker the moon, the lower your capacity for client work is, and the brighter and bigger the moon, the higher your capacity for client work is. So, technical note here, the darker moon phases are the new moon, the waxing crescent, the last quarter, and the balsamic moon. And the brighter moon phases are the first quarter moon, the gibbous moon, the full moon, and the disseminating moon. Now, how you determine your natal moon phase using your natal chart is something I could teach you, but it would take some time and you might get frustrated. So instead, I recommend Googling an online natal moon phase calculator. There are plenty of those, and it'll tell you what phase the moon was in on the day you were born. Let's start putting some flesh around this with examples. If you have a balsamic moon, and that is when the moon is dying, that's a really intense word, but it's dying and about to become new again. It's really dark, okay? Please do not try to serve 10 clients per month. That model is going to overstretch you and burn you out. But on the flip side, if you have a full moon, don't bore yourself with one client per month. That's not going to be stimulating enough for you. Again, that's an exaggeration and an oversimplification, but if we were to take our example and superimpose it on the phases, it might look something like this. So if you have a full moon, you might be able to serve 10 or even more clients. If you have a gibbous or a disseminating moon, so those are the phases on either side of the full moon, maybe you can serve 5 to 10 clients per month. And if you have a quarter moon, whether that's the first quarter or last quarter moon, maybe you can serve 2 to 5 clients per month. And if you have a really dark moon, so a new moon, waxing crescent, or balsamic, maybe it's just 1 to 2 clients per month. So I want you to take your mathematical original baseline client number and begin to tweak it slightly up or down based on your natal moon phase client capacity. So let's use an example. Let's pretend I have, again, 20 hours per month to devote to client work, and it takes me 2 hours per client. So mathematically, I'm starting at 10 clients per month. But I look at my moon and I have a gibbous moon, and this is for real. I do have a gibbous moon. So I might need to bring that number down just a smidge. So let's say I tweak it down to 8 clients per month. That feels really realistic for me. Let's use that same math. So 20 client hours per month, 2 hours per client, starting at 10 clients per month. But let's say I have a balsamic moon. I would really need to rethink my business model to protect my energetic capacity. So on the list that I gave you, it says 1 to 2 clients per month for a balsamic moon. But maybe that feels way too small. Maybe I'm like really uncomfortable with that because I'd have to charge a whole lot of money to just serve 1 to 2 clients. So maybe I start with 4 and see how I feel. So that adjusted number is what we're going to call your lunar client capacity. But now we want to work that into your revenue goal. And you take that annual revenue goal and you break it down into a monthly revenue goal by dividing it by 12. So for ease, and I hope your monthly revenue goal is a lot bigger than this, but for mathematical ease, let's just choose the goal of $1,000 per month. For our gibbous moon person, we started with 10 clients and then we adjusted it down to 8 clients per month. If we had a revenue goal of $1,000 per month and we do some basic math, that's $125 per client. Now for our balsamic moon person, we adjusted to 4 clients per month. If they had the same monthly revenue goal of $1,000, that's $250 per client. So this number is your baseline price. Even though there's more to talk about, there's more astrology coming, I really don't want anyone going below this number ever. In my experience with intuitive entrepreneurs, I'm talking to you, you tend to over-deliver and undercharge. So do not go below this number, no matter what the astrology says after this. Okay, let's take it one step further. There's another place you can look for pricing insight, and that place is your natal Venus or your business's Venus. Strong Venuses might resonate with more premium pricing models. They might be more comfortable charging higher amounts, while more challenged Venuses, or shall we say just alternative Venuses, might resonate with more value-based pricing models or alternative pricing models. So when I say strong Venus, I mean a Venus that's in a sign it really loves to be in, like Taurus, Libra, or Pisces, and in a strong house, like an angular house. When I say alternative Venus, I mean a Venus that's combust, so it might be conjunct the sun, it might be retrograde, it might be in a weak house like 2, 6, 8, or 12, or it might be in a more challenging sign for Venus like Scorpio, Aries, or Virgo. Again, this is really nuanced. And it depends on a lot of unique factors and configurations in your chart. It's very hard to generalize on a podcast, but that's what I'm trying to do right now. If you have Venus in Taurus, Libra, or Pisces, I want you to consider raising your prices to a premium or luxury rate. And these are the signs of Venus's rulership and exaltation, okay? We could also probably throw in Venus in Leo, because it's a very confident placement and would be comfortable probably asking for premium rates. Now, if you have Venus in Scorpio, Aries, or Virgo, these are the signs of Venus's detriment or fall. It's not the opposite. You're not going to be the cheap option, okay? But you might want to offer alternative payment models. This might be like flexible pricing, whether that's a sliding scale or a payment plan, or maybe different payment tiers. The signs that are left, we have Gemini, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. I'd loosely put them in the alternative pricing structure side. And Capricorn and Cancer, I'd loosely put more towards the luxury pricing side. Let's go back to our examples and add Venus in. So our gibbous moon person, which is me, chose a capacity of 8 clients per month. They have a revenue goal of $1,000. That's $125 per client, baseline minimum, not going below that. I have Venus in Cancer, which leans slightly towards the luxury pricing. So I would feel into my body and see if there's something I could comfortably add to my base rate. Maybe I could bump it up to $200 and feel comfortable. These numbers, by the way, are totally made up. These are not my actual numbers. I'm just using it for ease. What about our balsamic moon person? They chose 4 clients per month with a monthly revenue goal of $1,000. That's $250 per client baseline. But let's say that they have Venus in Pisces, so their Venus is exalted. I would encourage them to stretch themselves to maybe even double their price, or at least add $100. So maybe they feel into it and they're like, I can't quite double it, but I can settle on $350. So as you can see, this is quite subjective, but if you start with the hard math, I think that's totally okay. What if our balsamic moon person with 250 client baseline had a weaker Venus? So maybe it was retrograde and combust and in Aries. They don't lower their price. We're not going to go below this baseline number, but perhaps they reward clients with a fast action bonus. That would be a real Venus and Aries type of pricing model. Maybe if their clients buy within a certain time frame, they get some type of extra bell or whistle, or they could simply divide their payment into a few installments. That's the general overview of how to price your services with astrology. Again, huge disclaimer, this really depends on your holistic chart as well as your actual service and your comfort and your body. It's a big discussion that we probably should talk about privately, but I wanted to do an episode on this. So recap, we determined your realistic client capacity based on how many hours you devote to clients per month and how long it takes you to serve each client. Then we adjusted that number using your natal moon phase to find your lunar client capacity. Then we created your baseline price by dividing your monthly revenue goal by your lunar client capacity. And we did one last gut tweak based on your natal Venus. And speaking of gut tweaks, I should say checks. We don't want a gut tweak. One last check here is energetic. I want you to think about what is a price that you can put all of your energy behind. I really want you to have your own back with your pricing. What's a price that you can say out loud to a client, like eyes to eyes, without your nervous system shutting down? That is a really great price to start with. All right, Astro Lover, thank you so much for listening or watching. I hope this was really helpful. Let me know how it goes, and I will talk to you next week.